The murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson sent shockwaves through the nation. The case took an even darker turn when authorities arrested Luigi Mangione, a former employee of the insurance giant. Mangione was apprehended with an unusual weapon, a 3D printed ghost gun. This case thrust the issue of 3D printed firearms into the spotlight, raising concerns about their accessibility and potential for harm. Mangione's alleged weapon of choice, the Chairman 151, was a modified version of a design known as the FMDA 19.2. This stands for Free Men Don't Ask. This model is popular among DIY gunsmiths because it is reliable and easy to build. The Chairman 151, like other 3D printed guns, blurs the lines between traditional firearms and emerging technologies. This case is significant because it is one of the first high-profile murders involving a 3D printed firearm. The use of this technology in such a crime highlights the growing threat these weapons pose. The incident has sparked debate about the need for stricter regulations and enforcement to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Law enforcement officials are still piecing together the details of the case, but one thing is clear. The rise of 3D printed guns presents a new challenge in the fight against gun violence. As this technology becomes more accessible, it is critical to understand the risks and work towards solutions that can mitigate the dangers they pose to society. Ghost guns are firearms assembled using a combination of 3D printed parts and commercially available components. The term ghost gun stems from the fact that these weapons lack serial numbers, making them untraceable by law enforcement. This anonymity makes them particularly appealing to individuals who cannot legally obtain firearms through traditional means. The process of building a ghost gun typically involves using a 3D printer to create the firearm's frame or lower receiver. This is the part of the gun that houses the firing mechanism. While commercially manufactured receivers are subject to background checks and other regulations, 3D printed versions can be produced at home with minimal oversight. Once the 3D printed frame is complete, the builder then incorporates commercially available parts, such as the barrel, slide, and magazine, to complete the firearm. These parts are often purchased online or at gun shows where regulations can be more lax. This hybrid approach allows individuals to circumvent traditional gun control measures and obtain functioning firearms without any background checks or registration. The increasing accessibility of 3D printers and the availability of online blueprints have made it easier than ever for individuals to build ghost guns at home. This has raised significant concerns among law enforcement agencies, as these untraceable weapons pose a unique threat to public safety. The FMDA 19.2 design, the basis for Mangione's Chairman 151, originated from a group called Deterrence Dispensed, now known as the Catalog. This organization advocates for unrestricted access to firearms and promotes the DIY gunsmithing movement. Their website, which features slogans like "Gun control has failed, you can't stop the signal," provides a platform for sharing blueprints and instructions for building firearms, including the FMDA 19.2. The Catalog and similar groups argue that individuals have the right to bear arms, regardless of government regulations. They view 3D printed guns as a way to empower individuals and circumvent what they see as infringements on their Second Amendment rights. The group's online presence has played a significant role in popularizing the FMDA 19.2 design, making it one of the more common 3D printed guns in circulation. However, critics argue that the Catalog's activities are dangerous and irresponsible, as they facilitate the proliferation of untraceable firearms. Law enforcement officials are concerned that these weapons could fall into the wrong hands, including those with criminal intent or a history of violence. The debate surrounding the Catalog highlights the broader challenges of regulating information and technology in the digital age. The Catalog's effort to promote 3D printed guns have sparked a legal battle. In a recent development, Peter Celentano, an alleged administrator for the Catalog, was arrested and charged with possessing illegal machine guns and numerous homemade gun components. This case underscores the legal complexities surrounding 3D printed firearms and the ongoing efforts to curtail their spread. The rise of 3D printed guns poses significant legal challenges for lawmakers and law enforcement agencies. The lack of serial numbers and difficulty in tracing these weapons make it challenging to investigate and prosecute crimes involving them. Furthermore, the ease with which individuals can obtain blueprints and components online complicates efforts to regulate their production and distribution. Several legal battles are currently underway, aiming to clarify the legality of 3D printed guns and establish stricter regulations. Some lawmakers are pushing for legislation that would require background checks for purchasing 3D printers and restrict the distribution of blueprints for firearms. However, opponents argue that such measures would infringe upon First and Second Amendment rights. The future of 3D printed guns remains uncertain. As technology advances and becomes more accessible, it is likely that we will see an increase in the number of these weapons in circulation. This development presents a significant challenge for law enforcement and policymakers, who must find ways to balance individual rights with public safety concerns. The debate surrounding 3D printed guns highlights the complex intersection of technology, law, and individual liberties in the digital age. The increasing availability of 3D printed guns underscores the need for comprehensive gun control measures. Addressing this issue requires a multifaceted approach that includes stricter regulations on the sale and distribution of 3D printers, enhanced efforts to monitor and disrupt online platforms sharing firearm blueprints, and increased public awareness about the dangers posed by these weapons. Failing to address this growing threat could have dire consequences for public safety and security in the years to come.